Welcome to the Spark by Hollywood podcast. Today's topic is titled Kate Middleton, a Spark of Modesty in Hollywood. This podcast is all about shining the unique spark beyond the typical and traditional Hollywood love. I'm super excited about today's topic as we delve even deeper into the paradigm of Hollywood culture of love, relationships, and woman empowerment. In 2011, Kate Middleton donned a yellow Jenny Peckham dress when her and William were on a tour of Canada. A day later, that dress was on the front pages of all tabloid magazines. Apparently, it was a windy day during their tour, and Kate's dress flew up, revealing part of her legs, which, as we know Kate and her modest style of dress, was not typically exposed. So what happened? The paparazzi lens followed them everywhere. They got a snapshot faster than the wind could blow. And the next day, we all saw footage of what they deemed was the greatest headline of the week or the century. Kind of like an impossible feat, right? Here you have a woman who's intentionally dressed with regal modesty. Intentionally, she covers her body with modest clothing. Yet the Hollywood headlines try to expose as much of her body as possible. As if that's the most important thing. We've accomplished exposing the body or part of the body of Kate Middleton, especially after she worked so hard to modestly cover it up. And yet, I think Kate's dress designer hit it right on the button. Pardon the pun. I guess she said, we have to add more weight to the bottom of Kate's dresses so they don't fly up in the wind in the future. But really, at the end of the day, it's the lack of modesty. It's the lack of dress that really continues to be celebrated. Even though we have Kate and others in the royal family showing us that you could be beautiful, you could be stylish, and with it, while garnishing respect from the world. Now in Hollywood, the messaging seems to be just that. The less clothes, the more skin, the more provocative the style, the better. I recently saw a headline, and it said, 15 celebs who lack modesty to get attention. Now, to be honest, I didn't click on that headline because, frankly, I don't care. I'm not looking to see more skin. Why? Because number one, their body parts are not my business. Number two, me seeing those parts of their body that could be covered doesn't inspire me in any way to be a better person. Kim Kardashian was once reflecting on a shopping spree that she went on with her sister. And I quote, I didn't buy her shoes. I bought her a career. I bought her a career. Kim was saying that she bought her sister something that whoever in power will look how she's dressed, judge her on her outer appearance, assuming that it's to their liking, and bam, she's got the job. So it seems, according to Hollywood, that this recipe works. It seems that modesty is really not something of high priority. It's just not necessary. Or is it? Well, what is modesty? I did a quick Google search because I have my own terms that I live by, what I see modesty as, but I said, let's see what Google will give me. So Google gave me three options. A, either it's the quality of not being too proud or confident about yourself, or not being too proud of your abilities. Or B, modesty is being in a state of moderation or being unassuming. Or C, the behavior or manner of appearance intended to avoid inappropriateness or indecency. So, Which one is it? Which one is the most accurate of all? Well, let's peel back some layers. Let's look at to who we are as a core in order to answer this question properly. Who we are as a core is a godly spark. Whether you believe in God or not, whether you think we are forms of the universe or formed from God, we are, at our core, a godly spark created in God's image. And what does that mean practically? That means that each spark is unique. You know, we just finished the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, and it was pointed out by Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson that if you look at the menorah on the 8th day of Hanukkah, you'll see that every single flame is different. It's different in shape. It's different in how it flickers. It's different in how it dances. And that is the same of each and every one of us. With this godly spark that we have within us comes a unique potential of expression that only you have, that only I have, that is unique from the next person. And that is brought out in our talents. It's brought out in our personality, all the way down to its core. So going back to that Google search, I don't think option A or B would be the best description of modesty, because we're not looking to minimize our confidence. We're not aiming to be moderate or mediocre. We're looking to shine. But shining doesn't mean showing off. It's exactly the opposite. It means shining your inner core, your inner self, your qualities, your gifts, your talents. And how do we shine? How do we shine our unique light? By doing the exact opposite that Hollywood and pop culture has asked us to do, which, as we know, express yourself through provocative and exposing clothing. So what should we do? Let's do Kate style. Let's cover up appropriately, with beauty, with grace, with class, with a gentle smile, and share it with others. A kind word, encouragement, a helping hand, allowing your inner spark of joy and love to shine through yourself and shine out to the world. Now let's take this one step beyond. We tend to associate modesty with clothing. And yes, definitely clothing is a big part of it. Let's take, for example, a married woman. She goes out to the world. She wears clothes that modestly cover her body. What message is she sharing with the world without any speech? Just by the way she appears, just by the way that she expresses herself, the way she's dressed, she is telling the world, I respect my body, and you are to respect it too. My body is mine, and I choose to share it intimately with my husband in our intimate lives. And that leads us to modesty in marriage. Hear me out. The most crucial part of a marriage relationship, and essentially what makes it different from other relationships that we have, is the sexual intimate connection. It's the physical and soulful connection between husband and wife. And like Hannah Weisberg says so brilliantly, it's the three-part connection of body, mind, and soul. Not only that, but it's something that is no one else's business. What does that mean? That means that it never should come up in conversation. It's to remain sacred and continue to be nurtured between husband and wife as they work on strengthening their bond together. So how do we keep this marital intimacy sacred and modest? The answer is through our speech. How so? It's very popular for people to casually speak about their sex life in their marriage. I mean, who remembers Joan Rivers on stage? A majority of her jokes were all about her sex life, making fun about the details of her intimacy. And yes, we can say, hey, it was all jokes. It was funny. It got the audience to laugh. And she's not the only one. She's not the only one who stood up there on stage and spoke about sex and spoke about their expression and their experience. It's all over. Kelly Ripa was recently quoted that the success in her long-standing marriage is her sex life. And lots of it. Seriously, Kelly? Why is that anyone else's business, I ask? And yet, this talk is riddled throughout our society. In our chats at the office, at our coffee dates with our girlfriends, maybe couples night out. Again, why is this okay? Why is it everyone else's business? How do we reclaim our sense of marital modesty once again? How do we do it? By refraining from speaking about it outside the marriage. Hold space in your heart for this sacred part of your marriage and don't let it out. Not in conversation with anyone. I once heard Ken Moore, the author of Happy Money, speak about what he saw as a difference between the Asian culture and the American culture or the North American culture. So he says that in Asian countries, people ask each other about their net worth all the time. They feel comfortable talking about their purchases, their investments, their net worth, how much did he pay for this, and people are quite open. It doesn't make a difference what class you're in, whether you're in the wealthy class, you're in the middle class, lower class. People just talk about it, and it's the norm. You bring that conversation to North America, and people look at you like, why is that your business? Why is that something that you're asking me about? And that's not something I'm going to share with you. And yet, says Ken, heading back to Asia, if you would have a conversation, and if an Asian would ask another person, another Asian, how's your sex life? How's it going? They would look at you like you fell off the moon. They will look at you like you are bringing up the most uncomfortable topic that should be brought up, that should not be brought up, but you're bringing up. And yet you come to North America, and that's just the most normal thing to talk about. People ask about sex life, and others answer. People answer. People talk easily about something which is sacred and private, and they talk about it openly. So Judaism teaches us we want to reclaim that. We want to reclaim that part of our marriage. Let's keep modesty in our speech as well. Let's keep what is private behind closed doors and don't make it available to others, not even in discussion. When we preserve the most sacred part of our marriage, the physical and soulful connection between husband and wife, it will never become someone else's business. It will never become a thing to discuss. It will remain sacred and continued to be nurtured between husband and wife, making their bond that much stronger. Now, even though we know that Kate and William are not of Asian descent, well, actually, that's a complete assumption on my part. Let me know if I'm completely wrong. Nevertheless, we're familiar by their value system, their manner of speech, and the fact that, like those in Asian culture, they don't express and they don't expose the intimate details of their marriage. And just like Judaism teaches, their choice of modesty, their manner of dress and speech expresses what? Expresses their commitment to each other. And just like they respect themselves, we, as a society, respect them and they're royalty too. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. If you are loving the Spark by Hollywood podcast, I'd appreciate if you can leave me a 5-star review on any platform that you are listening on: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, or Audible. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Spark by Hollywood. That's where the conversations happen and where I give you extra content on all my episodes. And finally, I'd love to hear from you. Send me your feedback. Send me your comments and your questions. Send me your aha moments to info@sparkbyhollywood.com. And remember, in a world where we are all enamored by the spark of Hollywood and its celebrities, always remember your own unique spark that you carry within you, that makes you the gift that the world needs to shine that much brighter. I'll catch you in the next episode.